you realize if God gives you this very expensive vial of ointment, and yes, it's very costly, do you know what? He can give you another one tomorrow.
All right.
If you need it. If you need it. And if He shows you that you need to give it today, then give it today.
Yes.
She was modeling what we often sing. All to Jesus. All to Jesus I surrender. All to Him I freely give.
Yes.
Give. It's amazing how the petty things of life fall by the wayside when we give it all to Jesus. Some of the things that we just come and get down about. You know, there's a lot of talk in our world today, especially in the political world, about conservatives and moderates and liberals. Do you know, if my wife Janet were to ask me, Doug, do you love me? And I were to say, yes, I do, dear, moderately. That couch would become really my friend. You see, if you truly love someone, you're going to give all that you have for them and to them.
Yes.
Don't measure it out. Here's the truth. You are that alabaster box, that alabaster vial, that container of the perfume.
Yes.
That is you, that is me. And we need to be broken and poured out to Jesus.
Yes.
Broken and poured out to Him.
Yes.
I want to close with this short story. A number of years ago, a Romanian pastor came to the United States. He'd been studying American Christianity for a number of years, but had not been able to come to the United States. His name was Joseph Son, T-S-O-N. Joseph came and someone asked him a question. Joseph, how would you describe American Christianity? Interesting question. How would you describe American Christianity? And he said, in America, the key word is commitment. In the English language, the word commitment did not come into popular usage until the 1960s.
Yes.
If an American were to use the word commitment, and I were translating that into our Romanian language, we don't have a word that corresponds with that. I'd have trouble helping our Romanian brothers understand what that means. Yes. Commitment is a big word in the U.S., Joseph said. You make commitments for all sorts of things. You commit to attend church. You commit to give to the church. You commit to serve God. You commit to lose weight. You commit to do this and that and the other thing. But he said what's interesting is that when a new word comes in, it kind of pushes the old word aside. So, of course, the person talking to Joseph was intrigued. What's the old word? The old word, Joseph said, is surrender.
Right.
Surrender. What's the difference between commitment and surrender? Well, you see, when you commit to something, you're essentially saying, I'm in control of that.
Yes.
Where I go, what I give, what I eat, and on and on. But when you surrender, it's like the old cowboy movies. You put your hands up and you say, I surrender.
Yes.
You know why they had people do that in the Old West? They wanted to see what they had in their hands.
Yes.
They weren't holding anything back.
Yes.
They showed their hands. What is God looking for us? Those of us that are truly surrendered will have lives that will last for all eternity.
Yes.
If you take the lid off of your vial, your box, and you simply pour a little bit out and you save the rest of it, that's commitment. But if you're willing to pour your life out for God and give all of it, that's surrender.
Yes.
That's surrender. If you're willing to do that, you will be very much like what Mary did, and the perfume of your life will permeate all that you do. And 10 years from now, 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, whenever your name comes up, whenever somebody maybe walks through a cemetery and says, oh, look at that name, they'll say, yeah, let me tell you about him. Let me tell you about her.
Yes.
They serve God like nobody I ever met.
Yes.
They gave their all for him. What's keeping you from being completely surrendered to God today? That's what I challenge you with. What is it that he's been calling you to, and you're kind of like, ugh, I want to hold on to that, God. And God is saying, open it up. Give it to me.
Yes.
Give it to me.
Yes.
Where would he have you serve? But remember, it begins with worship. Before I sit down and pass it back to your pastor, I want to just change gears for just a moment and ask you to consider praying about something. There's been a tradition for nearly 30 years at First Baptist of Bushnell that we do a drive-through living nativity. Anybody ever been through that before?
Yes.
Drive-through living nativity. We normally have around a dozen different scenes. It begins with with Joseph sleeping and the angel visiting with him. It goes on to Bethlehem. It has the manger scene. It has the wise men. It has Lazarus at the tomb with Jesus. It has Jesus in Gethsemane. It has 3 crosses. We literally have, 3 men on the crosses with horses and whips and people mourning at the cross. We have the empty tomb. We even have what we call a modern scene where it shows Jesus knocking on the door and asking to come in. And then we conclude. We could use some help this year. Because of COVID, there are some that are able to help us in just being at some of these various scenes. So if you'd be open to helping out in any way, just let your pastor know, and he'll get your name and contact information. But we would very much welcome your help as we try to get out into the community what this holiday season is really all about.
Yes.
Normally, we'll have anywhere from 1,600 people to 2,000 people drive through on Saturday and Sunday night. This year, it's going to be on Saturday, the 19th, and Sunday, the 20th of December, from 6:30 until 8 o'clock, or until the last car in line passes through. So pray about that, but even more so than that, what has God been just pricking your heart with that you need to be surrendered to him about? Do that, and you will have a wonderful life that will last.
Amen. Amen. Amen.